formation looks to be leaps and bounds better than anyone else in the league right now. Shannon, you are a Hall of Fame tight end. Why is this so successful?
Because it creates very favorable matchups, Skip. How do you want to play it? Are you going to play it with your base personnel, which means you're going to leave your base personnel, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 DBs on the field? Or are you going to come in with another big? Or are you going to come in with an extra DB? But, Skip, the thing that we did out of this a lot is that we opened the formation up. So instead of being one tight end on one side, one tight end on the other side, Mike would split me out. So now, do you really want a linebacker covering Shannon Sharp? Do you really want your safety dealing one-on-one with Shannon Sharp?
How much did you use 12 personnel?
We were heavy 12 personnel.
Really?
I would probably say 55, 60% of the time.
So you had 2 tight ends 60% of the time.
Easy. We were heavy 12 personnel.
And who was the usual other tight end?
Dwayne Carswell. Okay. We called him House.
Yeah.
And so, Skip...
Was he more of a blocker
than a catcher? He was more of a blocker,
okay.
But he could catch the ball, so a lot of people thought of him as a blocker because eventually, Skip, they ended up moving to tackle.
Yep.
So that just lets you know how dominating of a blocker that he was. But he was a more than an adequate a guy at tight end that could catch the football. But they could do so many different things with me. And also, Skip, what it allowed you to do is that it gave you better protection against pass rushers.
Yep.
So now there were no short corners. So now it pushed your linebackers even further away from the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So we were protected against the rush, and we gained an advantage on you as far as throwing the football. And if you notice, they throw a lot out of this because you got 2 guys that are very good. So how did the defense? What do they want to do with it, Skip?
Yep.
Do they want to say, you know what, we're gonna play this base? Well, if you play it base, you're asking your linebacker, your safety to deal with these tight ends. These tight ends are very good. They're not. In today's tight end, there are not very many blockers. Everybody just want to be able to get their tight end, get the favorable matchup. Mm-hmm. So we were heavy, Skip. We were heavy 12 personnel because it allowed me, I was out wide. I would line up with a split in a flex formation in the slot. But we could also, we called it tiger personnel, Skip. So when you come on the field, we got the tiger paws up. But the thing was, hey, I love that formation. I love that formation. O'Shea made his name, cut his teeth in that formation.
Okay, guess what? I love it, too.
I bet you do.
Guess what? It has changed life in Dallas, Texas, for the moment. Now, will people start to figure this out and even the playing field?
But that's the thing, though, Skip. How are you going to play it?
Yep, I got it. So here's what's shockingly amazing about this. We went into this season ahead of Dallas having to go to the GOAT, to Tampa Bay on opening Thursday night. The debate was, did the Dallas Cowboys now have the 3 best receivers in pro football?
Right.
Are their 3 maybe even a little better than Brady's 3? That was the debate.
Right.
And right on schedule, what happens? A Cowboy thing happens. As you say, Cowboys do Cowboy things. Opening night, they nearly won, but they didn't, and they lost one of their 3.
Right.
Michael Gallup is down, and he's out with a pulled or torn calf.
Right.
He's still not even scheduled to practice as we speak, which scares me to death about Dak's calf, but that's a whole nother issue. We'll wait until next week to see how it starts to unfold. But the point is, all of a sudden, I don't have the 3 best receivers in pro football, and I'm thinking, I'm in trouble. Here we go again. Not meant to be. And they fall into 12 personnel.
Right.
Almost because they say, well, we don't have any other choice. They're starting to use Cedric Wilson, who's been way better than I thought as a slot receiver, but not always.
Right.
Most of the time, they're going with the 2 tight ends. Well, is either one of those tight ends a Kelsey or a Kittle?
No.
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 Are we talking about a Gronk or a Shannon Sharp? No, we're not. We're talking about an undrafted free agent once upon a time in Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz, who was a 4th-round pick out of Stanford. They're both pretty good, but they're not life changers, right?
Right.
But if you put both of them in together, and they use them differently, they're like joined at the hip a lot of times, where they'll line them up kind of hip to hip off the tackle, and now you have to commit pre-snap to the box. What if both these guys do decide to block? What if Zeke is running downhill behind both those 2 guys off the tackle?
Yes.
And with Zach Martin at left guard, right?
Yes.
Well, all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, we better start loading the box a little bit here.
And plus, Skip, it allows you to identify what they're playing man or zone. Because if you split Shannon Sharp out and they walk a safety, they walk a linebacker, that's man coverage. If they leave it like it is, more times than not, it's going to be zone. So it allows you to dictate what they're going to do coverage-wise. Because Because now I know what you're in because I can see how you're playing my tight ends.
Okay. So not only are they utilizing this, they are flat out dominating with it. And I don't want to get too X and O heavy here because people just check out on this. But just so you understand what's happening right now, in this football season through 6 games, other teams are averaging 82 yards a game in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. 82 yards. Dallas is averaging 165 yards, by far the most in the league with 2 tight ends. On rushing the football, other teams are averaging 37 yards per game running the football with 2 tight ends. Dallas is almost, it's at 91. It's like almost 100 yards a game rushing out of 2 tight ends. And as Bob Sturm writes in The Athletic, that is an insane brand of dominance. They're just dominating. And just don't lose sight of the fact that going 12 personnel heavy, 2 tight end heavy at New England against the great Bill Belichick, the mastermind, the guru, the greatest defensive coach ever. They put it, I know they had an overtime, but they had 500 yards in regulation. They went up with 567 total yards against Bill Belichick. And Dak obviously threw for 445. And much of it was 2 tight end heavy. Something is going on, and we fell into it. It's like heavens opened and let there be 2 tight ends. Because there's no way. If Gallup stayed healthy, they're not going to go 2 tight end heavy.
And sometimes, like you said, you stumble into it. Mike felt that our best, 21 skill, because we did have a fullback. Howard Griffin did a very good job of blocking for us. But Mike just felt that was another way for us to be able to dictate what they were going to do.
We have a fullback. We never use a fullback. We just don't.
We use grip, but it was a way, Skip, because like I said, I lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage a lot, but Mike didn't have a problem putting me out wide and let me run routes. Just like he would ask Rod and Ed to run routes. And so we could dictate what we wanted you to do. How are you going to do it? We go double tight, Skip, and TD, we balance it up. You didn't know. We running left, we running right. Okay, they're going to run the ball. Which way, though?
Okay. So thanks to 2 tight ends, neither of which will remotely make the Pro Bowl. I don't think they'll ever make a Pro Bowl. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I doubt it. Thanks to those 2 guys, undrafted 4th round, we have the most explosive offense in pro football as we speak. And
you see a lot of time on 3rd down, he's throwing the ball to Schultz. He's throwing the ball to
He loves to throw it to him. He's like his security blanket.
That's a very, I'm surprised more teams, but you do need, you need guys that can, that can go down the field and get down the field in a hurry and cause matchup problems. But House was a dominating blocker. I mean, it was like we put an extra offensive lineman on the field. But he could still, he get you 2 or 3 catches a game if needed.
So bottom line, thanks to 2 tight ends, 1 Hall of Fame tight end is in trouble this year. He's going to have to eat lots of crow, and he's going to lose lots of diet dew thanks to 2 tight ends who will never even sniff the Hall of Fame.
That's
Thank you.
You're just going to leave it on that note?
That ain't going to happen. That old Tom Terrific going to come through for me.
Tom Terrific. Now you're a fan of Tom.
Who was that? Tom Brady.
Interesting.
He going to keep y'all out of the Super Bowl.
The Sixers.
Yeah.
Could happen.
And Matthew Stafford.
All I care is about the East.
And Kyler Murray.
The East is over, you concede?
No. I'm going to see after next week. It might be next week I might have to wave a little white flag.
Okay, after next week, I'm going to hold you to it. Guys, we got to talk about